10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, hello, nerds and geeks and other assorted assholes and whatever else. I don't know. What's up, people?
And dicks.
Dicks. Hello, dicks. Just a bunch of dicks out there. Fucking
Yep.
dicks. What the hell, man? Just a bunch of fucking dicks.
So amusing.
Everybody's a fucking dick. Anyway, welcome to the Geek Chat. We're doing a quick one tonight. It's probably only going to be about an hour or so. We're running late. I don't usually do one this late, but I was at the movies, which of course we will be talking about that. And so that's what we're going to do. And then I still got a bunch of fucking honeydew chores and shit that I got to do around the house. Although, well, that's not true. I mean, I do have some stuff that my wife wants me to do, but I also have stuff that I need to do for me that she couldn't give a rat's ass about that I want to try and get finished this weekend. So, you know how that goes. So anyway, welcome to the Week in Geek. We're here to talk about some fucking geeky shit, some stupid shit, some fucking shit that don't matter, but that's fun and entertaining. So that's what we're going to do today. And we're just going to jump right in and start off with obviously the movie that came out this weekend that I just got back from seeing, which is
that I saw earlier today.
Yeah, I've only been home for about a half hour, and just got back from the movies. And that, of course, is Ant-Man Quantumania. Is it Ant-Man Quantumania or Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania?
I think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Yeah, I mean, she's like a third-tier character in the movie, if I'm honest. Like, it's mainly him, his daughter, Kang, are like the three main characters. And then even like Janet and Hank are more important than what's her face is. Then what's her name?
The daughter.
What's her daughter? What's the name? I forget her.
I forget her name too.
I can forget her name. She's like out of the main cast. She's like the least important with the least screen time and with the least amount of fucking the dialogue in the movie.
Cassie.
So Cassie. No, Cassie's his daughter.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. No, but like him, his daughter, Hank, Janet, and Kang are all more important than whatever the chick is. Who's the Wasp? What's her name?
Evangeline Lilly is the gal that plays her, but I can't remember her name either.
Anyway, well, whatever her name is, Wasp. We'll just call her Wasp. But anyway, so I just saw this movie. This is the new Marvel movie. Obviously, it's a movie I was going to go see because it's fucking Marvel, and I'm a Marvel simp, and I get it. I've been a huge Marvel fan since I was a little bitty kid.
Hope.
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to just lay it out, and then we'll get more into the story. And I'll try not to give away any spoilers because, I know it's only been out for 2 days. I know a lot of people haven't seen it yet. I will just say this. It was good. It wasn't great. That was my opinion of it. My wife actually liked it better than I did. It was good, and it's better than some Marvel. I mean, it's better than like Captain Marvel or Thor Dark World, or God forbid, it's better than Eternals. And it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
It was a good movie, and I enjoyed it. And I didn't feel like I wasted my time. But like when a lot of Marvel movies that come out, whether it's the Spider-Man movies, the Captain America movies, the Avengers movies, all this stuff, Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy, are fucking great movies. This was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I can't say I felt like this whole movie was just set up for future movies, which is fine. That's fine. They're getting into the whole Kang thing or whatever, and he's a great villain, and so he did need a movie to get set up, and this movie did that.
Yeah.
And he was great in the movie. Like everybody was good in the movie, except for MODOK. MODOK fucking sucked. I'm gonna be honest here.
No. Darren,
yeah.
the greatest of the Avengers.
Dick. No, I'll be honest, because I mean, I know MODOK in the comics even is kind of a goofy character.
He is.
But they just took like one character from the comics and then like made him MODOK. And I guess it kind of worked in the story, but it was like, if you remember that character
kind of silly
from the first movie, he was a very serious character. He's probably the only serious character in the first movie. And in this movie, he was used as, fucking comedy. Like, and while there was some funny stuff in it or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like him and, the whole, you don't have to be a dick and it's always, it's always time to, or whatever the fuck she says. I don't know. Anyway, like
It's never too late to stop being a dick.
I really wanted to feel like MODOK was more dangerous and not just a comedy sidekick, I guess.
They had to add some sort of element in it to make you sympathize with MODOK, and that's what they did.
I mean, they didn't have to.
Well, it looks like that's what they were
could have
going
just
with.
made him MODOK from the comics, where he is just a killing machine, and you didn't have to have any sympathy for him. It's like they wanted to kind of shoehorn in a little bit of comedy with his character, which I get because he's a goofy looking character. He's a giant floating head with guns. So I get,
and tiny arms and legs.
Yeah, and I get that he can be kind of funny, but like it's like they tried too hard. You know what I mean? Like they just tried too hard, in my opinion. And so I don't know. Look, it was a good movie. It was a fun movie. If you like the Marvel movies, this is, mid-tier Marvel. Definitely better than the second Ant-Man movie. I don't think it's as good as the first one. Because the first one was fucking hilarious. First one was great. It was a heist movie. It was a comedy movie. Love the first Ant-Man movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp is whatever. And this was better than that. But I can't sit here and say I would blame people. They're like, I'll just wait till it starts streaming in 6 months on Disney Plus. I'd be like, I can see that. Because nothing's going to happen between now and when it starts streaming on Disney Plus in 6 months or 9 months or whatever. It'll be streaming on Disney Plus by Christmas. Okay. And nothing's going to happen in any of the movies between now and then that you're going to have needed to see this movie to know. Right.
Right.
Like nothing in this movie, because Kang's not going to be around. Like, unless you're going to watch the Loki series, and then maybe because
he's going to be in there. He's going to be in there.
So maybe you would want to watch it for that reason if you like Loki. But other than that, like, it was good. It was fun. It was good, but it wasn't great. So that's kind of my rough review of it. But to get into the details of it a little more without getting any spoilery, you get good backstory for Kang. You get, if you watch Loki, you already know a little bit, or if you read the comics, you know everything. Get a little backstory for Kang. I will say it's got 2 post-credit scenes. One mid-credit scene, 1 post-credit scene. Mid-credit scene, you absolutely have to watch.
Yeah.
The end credit scene, you don't have to watch. It's basically just a tie into the next season of Loki.
Yeah, I didn't get to see
that's
that.
all it is. It's a tie into the next season, which was cool. You don't need to see it, but it was cool. And Kang was done really well in it. It was a good story. It was a solid story. It was more a Kang story than it was an Ant-Man and the Wasp story, which I'm fine with because he,
They're tying him into the universe.
Yeah, and he's a big bad guy, big villain character, and I don't have a problem. I mean, I've said before, I think some of these villain characters should get their own movies. Like, I think personally, if I was in charge of Marvel, which I am not, like whenever once Fantastic Four gets up and running, which it will in the next couple years, one of the first things I would do after that franchise at least gets one movie in is I would do a Galactus movie. And I would do a Galactus movie starting with, because if anybody that knows the history of Galactus, he was a scientist that figured out the universe was going to collapse. And he created technology to help him survive the collapse of the universe. And then what you find out is what that collapse was the Big Bang that created the regular universe. And he was the only being that survived that and moved into the new universe that had been created.
Does that make him a Titan?
Well, according to Greek mythology, yes, but in Marvel, no. But and I would do a whole story because I think that's I mean, it's been kind of chopped up, and you've gotten it in little bits and pieces throughout Marvel's history in Fantastic Four comics and shit. I think it would make for a great movie, just starting with him as a normal guy, but he's living in this, different world where he's a scientist and he figures out what's happening. And the movie ends essentially with him becoming Galactus after the universe collapses. I think that would be fucking fantastic. I think Marvel should be doing villain movies. I think they should do a Doctor Doom movie. I think they should do a Galactus movie. So this being kind of a Kang movie, it's like half a Kang movie, half an Ant-Man movie. I was fine with that. It was good. Because I think Kang's a great character. I think Jonathan Majors, who plays Kang, did a great fucking job playing Kang. So it was good from that standpoint. I did feel like there was a lot of shit in it that just didn't need to fucking be there. Like all the rebel shit. Like there's the whole fucking scene with Bill Murray was completely unnecessary. He shows up for 5 minutes in the whole movie, and nothing significant happens in that moment. Nothing that couldn't have been taking. Like the only thing that scene does in the entire movie is it gets Hank and the daughter Wasp to start asking the mother more questions about, well, who is this person and what are you hiding from us? Which they've already been asking by that point, and they continued to have to ask after that scene.
Until she finally coughs up.
That scene did fucking nothing. Honestly, it really did nothing. It was a pointless scene. Most of the stuff were the rebels, where they were at the home base for the rebels and drinking the goo and all the other fucking shit and whatever else, was pointless and didn't add anything to the movie. The scene where he has to go to the center of the thing to do the thing, and then lots of other versions of him show up, was visually cool looking, but ultimately meant nothing. It didn't change the story, didn't do anything, it didn't add anything to the story. So there were scenes in the movie that just didn't fucking need to be there. And I would have seen them spend more time on Kang. I would have rather seen them spend more time on Kang because he was the most interesting part of the story, and his backstory or whatever, learning more about him than some of there's probably like 25 minutes worth of scenes in that movie that just were just completely unnecessary. Like they didn't do anything for the story. They didn't add anything to the story. They were visually kind of cool, or you meet weird characters in the rebellion and shit, but like they don't actually do anything. That they could have spent that time, I think, doing other things better, So, again, I know I sound like I'm bitching a lot about this movie. I'm not. It was still a good movie, but I am being critical of it because that's what is expected if I'm going to review it. I'm not just going to be like, look, if this was Fast and Furious 10, which I'm going to go watch this movie, which I know is going to be completely fucking ridiculous and pointless and shit, right? Like, I know this, but I'm going to see it for that reason. So I don't really give a shit about each fucking scene of ridiculous, stupid shit that's not realistic at all, because that's the whole fucking movie, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This, it's Marvel, so I expect a little more, as a Marvel Comics fan. So, the fuck is Jolly doing out in the chat and not in here?
Well, it's the same reason I'm out in the chat sometimes and not in here. I just want to
Jolly doesn't get his ass into the chat.
Well, he hasn't seen it, and he says he's burnt out on Marvel movies.
I don't know, but Jolly says because I don't have a link, dude. I sent a link to everybody, just like I always do. Do you seriously not have a link?
Jolly, check your emails from like 8:16 p.m. You probably got one.
I'll send it again. Let's see. I'll send another one. How about this?
Because I got one.
I just send it to the same. Nope, that's fucking not the link. That's not it at all. I'll get another link. I'll send you a link, Jolly, if you don't have it for whatever reason. I don't know why you don't fucking have it, because I fucking sent it. But anyway, where are we at? I don't know. Nice Strike. Tell me, what did you think about this movie?
Well, I'll give you that. There were some parts that were unnecessary, but there were some parts that I enjoyed, like the whole autobiography thing. I thought that one was perfect.
Well, yeah, the bio, like the beginning, the
Yeah.
whole opening sequence is great because it's very Ant-Man. It was very lighthearted and funny and that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
And I felt that them saying, okay, so you wrote an autobiography, great, but what are you doing? Because it looked like he wasn't going out with the Avengers like he should and continue trying to help stop crime and evil. He just saved the world, and then he was just kind of done, is what it looked like, and they were calling him out for it. I felt that was necessary too.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good Ant-Man intro to a movie of, you know,
Right.
Which is where those movies shine. But
you know, some of the stuff, like, you know, the whole resistance thing, yes, it may have been a little over the top, but you know, but remember, if you watch the movie, they explained it to, like, since Kang couldn't escape from the quantum verse, he basically decided, you know what, if I can't escape from it, I'm gonna conquer it because I'm Kang the Conqueror. You know, and I thought that was a nice touch.
well, I mean, okay, so part of the like, first of all,
how about the scene when Janet touches the ship and connects to his mind and sees what he's done? That was cluing into, you know, who he was as a character.
yeah, no, and I loved all the Kang stuff. The Kang stuff was great. The Rebel stuff was like unnecessary because, first of all, they never explain how the fuck there's all these people living in the quantum realm from all these different planets or dimensions or fucking all different species of people and all this shit. And there's no explanation of how all these people got there, because when Janet's there and she finds Kang, it's kind of implied that, like, they're the only ones there. She's been alone. Nothing's going on. And then, but now there's a whole rebellion around him, which, first of all, like, the rebellion wasn't needed for this because, first of all, Night Strike, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Ultimately, in the end, they do nothing. It's
right.
not the rebellion that does anything in the end.
It's Ant-Man does a majority of it. The rebellion does help a little bit, but you know, that's only really to keep the lasers off of Ant-Man as he's.
Well, don't say too much. Don't say too much. Don't say too much.
You know,
people haven't. So not everybody's seen it yet, but like in the end, when stuff goes down, the rebellion, like, basically loses. Like, they lose.
Well, it looks like they're starting to lose.
Well, no, they do lose. It's only because of Hank and the things that come with him that they fucking win. Has nothing to do with the rebellion.
It's because plot armor.
I hate to say it, but I liked that part with Hank and the, you know what? I liked
that was great. And that's all you needed in the movie. You didn't need this, like, all these weird characters that are never explained how they got there, where they came from, why there's so many. If it was like one species of people that lived in the quantum realm, it'd be much more believable. But it's literally like just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different species that are just all stuck there. Nobody knows why. It's never explained why all these people live there. You're introduced to a rebellion in multiple scenes that really have no bearing on the story. And in the end, the rebellion doesn't even do anything to help resolve the conflict in the end.
They're just there.
They're just fucking there.
They're just part of the plot.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying is that, like, they're not part of the plot. Like, they don't need to be there because they don't do anything.
They're background part of the plot.
I guess they're just colorful characters to throw in the fucking movie. I guess I don't know.
I mean, because they don't have the rock guy from Thor, and you know the guy with the other thing with the arms. They don't have.
Yeah, but at least that made sense. That was a planet in the real universe that people have been sent there and brought there, like, and they're fucking forced to fight in games, and people go there because it's this like fucking game planet and all. Like, it made sense that there was a bunch of aliens on an alien planet of different species. The way Janet and yeah, I mean, we know Janet lied about what was going on there, but
look at it from another perspective, okay? You know, we are as a people are here in this universe, and in Marvel, you know, there's other planets in this universe that people live on, right? Okay, now the Quantumverse is just another universe. So is it so far out there that there wouldn't be any living sentient beings down there?
Oh no, absolutely. But it would make sense in a place like that if the other living sentient beings were all the same species. Not just multiple species, and some look fucking human, and some were obviously fucking human, and some were weird aliens, and one dude has broccoli for a head for some fucking reason.
If you listen to Janet when they first got down there, she said that the Quantumverse is made up of multiple worlds.
I guess. I don't know. I just found it was a lot of unnecessary
you weren't paying
stuff.
attention as much as you should have been.
No, I remember that, but I'm just saying, like, I just felt like there was a lot of unnecessary stuff.
I'm still mixed on the science of the quantum realm, because from our understanding, you either have to have figured out the Pym particle, which only Hank Pym has done in the known 616 universe, or you have to figure out time travel.
Right.
And it is another universe, but is it that it's another universe, like a mirror universe of our own? Is it another dimension, or is it another like plane of existence? Like time is
it's another plane of existence.
It's another plane of existence, but it's its own universe in that plane of existence, of which you can't just zip in and out of time through it normally.
Pive's got a question, and we talked about this just a little bit ago, but I guess Pive wasn't here yet. Are the end credit scenes good though? Let's be honest, that's the important part. One is really good. The other one's just a lead into season 2 of Loki.
Yeah.
But one is the mid credit scene is good, and that one doesn't take long to wait for. You know, the one all the way at the end, you got to wait all the way to the end of the credits, is just a tie into Loki, which was good. I mean, it was a good tie into Loki. But
does it
like
I don't think it was Kang?
I don't think it was. It did have to do with Kang.
Okay, so the end
because the entire Loki series has to do with Kang.
Mm-hmm.
So it did have to do with Kang, but it wasn't as important to the larger picture. It was just specifically for season 2 of Loki, which we're gonna watch. I mean, I'm gonna watch that anyway. I mean, it was cool. I watched it. It wasn't bad or anything. But like, if you're like, do I have to wait for that one? No, you don't have to wait for that one.
Yeah, so. and you have to look at it. Remember, for the longest while, the guy who played He Who Remains said he wasn't Kang, and then just in the movie, he's Kang.
Yeah,
who didn't see that coming?
Look, Jonathan Majors is having a banger year. That man is making so much money right now.
Yeah.
Well, he did that. So okay, is he though? I don't know.
No, he's in this. He's Kang, and this is like a multi-movie contract. He's gonna be the big bad. He's also in the next Creed movie.
Which nobody gives a shit about.
It's gonna make money. The Creed movies made money.
I'm willing to bet it makes less money than the other two, because Sylvester Stallone has publicly come out and said that he doesn't want anything to do with that movie. He's publicly come out and said it's not a Rocky movie. The story is too dark. The characters are not the way I would have written them. It does not fit with what I created with the Rocky movies and the first 2 Creed movies. There's no hope in the movie. It's just a dark story about 2 men that has no happy resolution. I don't want anything to do with it. Because he was asked publicly about it, and he said no. He's like, I disassociated myself from the movie. He's like, I was legally obligated to be a producer on it. So you will see my name pop up as a producer on the movie, but I didn't like it. I originally
just mad that he's not getting as much money.
Dude, that dude is Hollywood royalty. He doesn't need money. They went to him to run the story by him, and he said, no, let me write a story. And they're like, no, this is what I want to do. And he talked shit about fucking Michael B. Jordan. He was like, this kid thinks he can come in and fucking direct and star in a movie and write a movie. And he's like, and
He doesn't have any street cred.
He wrote something that's not Rocky. And he's like, these are Rocky movies. He's like, despite the fact that this is about Apollo Creed's son, these are Rocky movies.
Yeah.
He's like, in the first two movies were Rocky movies. They had the same spirit, the same essence, the same hope in each of the movies. He's like, this one doesn't. This is not a story that I put my stamp on. It's not a story I wanted to tell. So I don't want anything to do with this movie. He was very public about it. So for that reason alone, I don't give a shit about the movie. And I like the first Creed. The second Creed had a couple of good montage scenes in it, but the first one was better than the second one. And the third one, I just don't give a shit about. I'll watch it when it's free somewhere. I ain't going to the movies to see it. So, but yeah, I like Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. And he's fucking Hollywood royalty at this point. The dude's rich as fuck. I don't think people understand how rich. Sylvester Stallone is one of these dudes that doesn't need to act ever again. Like ever. He doesn't need to do anything. His kids will never, ever, ever have to work, even if he does nothing ever again. The dude's fucking rich. The dude is tied into so many fucking production studios and just makes money for doing nothing.
I think your point is made.
You know. So, anyway. But yeah, Ant-Man Quantumania was good. Wasn't great, but it was good.
It was good.
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
So, there you go.
Question: are you going to go see it again if you get a chance, or are you going to just?
I am because my daughter wants me to take her to see it, so I'll end up taking her to see it. She wants
glorious purpose.
There's a Loki. You got the old man Loki. I seen a bunch of people taking that Loki and putting the comic book Loki head on it to make like a young Loki with the classic costume.
Yeah.
And I got the He Who Remains.
Yep.
He just looks like a librarian.
He does, really.
He's just like, I don't get paid for this.
Because I had to, I got this joke of a thing.
Because you already got that far. You might as well get the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this had the main body for what I was wanting to finish.
Well, did you finish it? Where is it? Show me Khonshu. Show me Khonshu. There's Khonshu. There's Khonshu. That was
Khonshu is huge.
Other than the zombies, that's the one I wanted the most. I just wasn't willing to buy all of them to get the Khonshu.
Because, I mean, here's Khonshu, and hell, let me get them both in frame. He Who Remains. I put them feet to feet. They're like this.
And as Jolly says, he just looks like a librarian like that.
Yeah.
You put him next to Zombie Iron Man. He's huge.
Yep. Yeah, I do want that Khonshu. I don't want to buy the rest of them.
He looks so awesome.
Khonshu's a god, so yeah, of course he's gonna be huge.
He is just awesome looking.
All right. It's time to talk about the next geek thing that happened this week. And that is the first episode of season 3 of Picard. Am I the only one that's watched this yet?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I've not watched it yet.
No,
I haven't watched it yet. I haven't gotten around to it.
So
go ahead. Go ahead. I'll watch it anyway.
Whatever. Isn't his daughter in the show now?
His daughter?
Yeah, like his real life daughter is playing a character in the show. I thought I saw that. The guy who played I forget his name, the guy with the visor.
Geordie LaForge.
Geordie LaForge.
Yes. Oh, Geordie's daughter?
I think Geordie's real life daughter is in Star Trek. I saw a video.
Geordie's daughter is in the show. I don't know if that's played by his real life daughter or not.
I think it is. I was watching an interview with him, and he said, my daughter told me she wanted to start acting, and she got that gig, and obviously very emotional for the family, a lot of connection.
Okay, I didn't know that was his actual daughter. She plays Geordie LaForge's daughter on the show. She's like Ensign LaForge. but she's in the first episode anyway. So quick recap. I liked Picard season 1. Thought it was good. It had a few dips here and there, but overall I thought it was pretty good. Season 2 had a really good first episode and a really good last episode, and in the middle just was
Kind of
boring, honestly. Like I was bored through most of it. You know? So I'm not gonna make any predictions on whether or not the show's good or bad or whatever, because I mean, we've had one good season and one not so great season. I will say the first episode was really good. Not really much to spoil because pretty much all the trailers come from the first episode. Like everything you've seen in the couple of trailers they dropped for this thing all happened in the first fucking episode. You know what I mean?
Right. I think I'm gonna wait a couple episodes before I start watching the third season.
And I just hope it's more like the first season where it has a lot of good episodes than the second season where it's really only the first and fucking last episode that are any good.
Right.
I hope it is because they're bringing all the crew back, and as a huge TNG fan, I'm looking forward to that. In the first episode, you know, you get Picard, Riker, Crusher. Is that it in the first episode? Picard, Riker, and Crusher, I think. Is there somebody else in it? Hey, you don't get Worf, you don't get Troy, you don't get LaForge, although you get LaForge's daughter.
And I looked that up. It's Alondra LaForge is his real life daughter.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, cool. I didn't know that was his real life daughter. I just knew it was Geordi's daughter, but that's cool. Good for her, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all supposed to be. I mean, except for fucking Wesley, because nobody gives a flying fuck about Wesley Crusher.
Nobody does because
Dude.
you know he decided to go off with Space Indians.
The dude in real life is a fucking twat, and on the show, Wesley Crusher was a fucking twat.
Yeah.
So nobody gives a fuck about Wesley Crusher.
Nope.
So that being said, there is a character that pops up in the first episode that you're like, what? So, but that's I'll save that for those of you who want to actually watch it. If you don't, then it doesn't matter anyway, 'cause you don't give a fuck. But it was a solid first episode. It was fun. You get, Picard and Riker back, and they're going off on an adventure and all this shit. And it was fun. I liked the first episode. It was solid, man. As a Star Trek fan, I liked it. I hope it continues that way. But I'm going to be cautiously optimistic because season 2 just kind of was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Like season 2, I don't know, man. Because most of season 2 takes place in like the 21st century because they go back in time, and it's just boring as shit. You know what I mean? Like I was bored. Like I don't give a fuck. That's not why I watch Star Trek. Like it was cool in like 1986 to go watch, Voyage Home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a good movie. I liked it. It was a good 2-hour movie, right? And seeing, the fish out of water storyline for that and them trying to save the whales and all that shit. It was fun. I still like that movie, right? I don't want to see a whole season of that shit. Like, get back in space, motherfucker.
Right.
And the whole fucking second season takes place in the 21st century, like just slightly in our future. And I'm just like, this is boring as shit. Like for an episode or two, it was okay. And then after a while, you're like, can we just get back into space again? That's why I watch Star Trek. Like, I don't need to see a whole fucking season of y'all in the 21st century not doing anything and just like trying to solve a mystery of something, Like it was not good in my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting on the third season to see whether or not it gets any better or if it's gonna be the same train wreck as the second season.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I mean, I'm sorry, Matt. I dropped the ball on this one. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, I understand. After season 2, I was like, do I want to watch this right now? But then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go ahead and watch it. And I was like, okay, that was good. It was a good first episode. I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. I want Star Trek to be good. I don't like it when Star Trek sucks. I don't like when any of these things suck. I want good Star Trek. I want good Star Wars. I want good comic book movies, whether they be Marvel or DC. Like, I want this stuff to be good. This is shit I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just shit I enjoy. I want you to make good shit. I did people like, especially now with the internet, man. If you say you don't like something, people are like, "Oh, you just blah, you don't like." I'm like, dude, I'm a fucking hardcore geek. I grew up in this shit. I want all this shit to be good. So if I'm saying it's not good, it's because it's really not good. I don't have a fucking agenda.
I mean, if anybody
You know what I
if
mean?
anybody questions your credibility, they really should look behind you,
Yeah, no shit.
right?
I'm a huge fucking geek. I don't hide it. I don't give a fuck. I've been a geek my entire fucking life. You know, I want good comic book movies. I want good Star Trek. I want good Star Wars. I want good sci-fi. I want stuff that's good, that's fun, that I can fucking enjoy.
Yeah.
And when you make shit, I'm, you know, like I'm not saying it, you know, because now it's trendy, and I get it. It's become trendy to talk shit about everything, like it has. And honestly, it pisses me the fuck off. Like it was entertaining for a while when people would fucking come out and fucking, you know, bitch about, like, okay, so I mean the real big push of it was what, episode 7, you know, Star Wars episode 7, no, 8, sorry, not 7, 8. Like that was the big push. You know, everybody came out hating it. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, because they were pointing out legitimately fucked up things about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Although there was one thing everybody was bitching about that I didn't understand why they were bitching about, but you know, whatever.
I didn't like it too much either, but I still
Yeah,
went
most
and saw
people
it
did.
opening
Honestly,
night.
yeah, most people did. I saw it opening weekend. And most people didn't like it that much. But
I mean, I would have watched Rogue One over that movie, but still,
yeah, Rogue One's a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, like it kind of started around then, and then it became really, really popular to just talk shit about everything, period. Like a new comic book movie comes out, let's pick it apart and talk about how much of a piece of shit it is. Every time something new as Star Trek comes out, let's pick it apart and talk about how much shit it is. Every time something Star Wars comes out, let's pick it apart and talk about how much shit it is. And it's like, okay, at a certain point, you just want to bitch because you know, and what's funny about it is, and I'll talk shit. There's a bunch of these fucking big YouTube channels that are out there that I've watched for a really long time. There's a really big one that when I first started watching him, he had about, I don't know, 5,000 subscribers. And he started bitching hardcore about Star Wars, like everybody was at the time, Star Wars Episode 8. And his numbers started to grow. So then all he does now is just bitch about everything and talk about how fucking everything sucks now, and all Star Wars sucks, and all Star Trek sucks, and all Marvel sucks, and all DC sucks, which is funny because he's also one of these dudes. And again, I've been subscribed to him for a long time. Okay. He's huge now. He's got like 500,000 subscribers now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to just bitch and bitch and bitch about all the movies that Zack Snyder was making. Right. DC movies. Right. Bitched about Man of Steel, bitched about fucking Batman v Superman, bitched about like just everything. Right.
Right.
And now that universe is gone, and what's his face, James Gunn is coming in and rebooting the whole DC universe. He's just bitching about that and talking about how they should bring back the Snyderverse, as if people like me who've been subscribed to him long enough didn't remember he was bitching about that shit. So it's become very popular and profitable on YouTube to just bitch about everything. And I'm just like, dude, you can't sit there and tell me, first of all, that you're a hardcore geek, right? And you're bitching about everything. You're literally saying everything is ruined. Like, I get there's woke shit and stuff, and that pisses me off as much as anybody. I get that shit, right? I get when the woke shit comes out, and when Disney or fucking whoever tries to weave woke shit into stuff. But when it's become popular for you to just bitch about everything and profitable for your YouTube channel, I'm just like, calm the fuck down. Because either A, you're not a geek, or B, like, you're just doing this to make money. So which is it? Either you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you know what I mean?
Right.
When people come out and bitch about, oh, well, they did this and this and this. Like when people bitched about the this was a big one. I remember this. Everybody, including the channel I'm talking about, I'll just say Geeks and Gamers is the channel that I'm talking about. Big fucking channel, huge YouTube channel. Well, huge, not huge, but big. Geeks and Gamers. I think his name's Jeremy. I used to watch him when he had 5,000 subscribers. And everybody, like when Avengers Endgame came out, fucking great movie. Still fucking fantastic movie. Love that movie. Fucking great. Right? Everybody,
the rat should have been an Avenger.
This little crowd bitched about the one scene where all the fucking chicks like get the gauntlet and try and stop. You know, in the big battle scene, there's the one scene where all the chicks start fighting, right? And they get the gauntlet from Peter Parker and try and get the gauntlet to the van, right?
Right.
Where Ant-Man is, right? Oh, this is woke woman, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's A-Force, dude. That's A-Force from Marvel Comics. Been around for a really long time. If you have, like, the only way I can see somebody bitching about, oh, there were too many women doing heroic shit on screen. Like, if you didn't know that's been a thing in Marvel Comics since, like, the 1980s, probably before then, but
you're not a true fan.
Then you've never read a fucking comic book.
And this is the thing. This is the thing with a lot of people that bitch and they go on. And as you said, they do nothing but bitch. It leads me to believe that their credibility is in the mud because they wouldn't know anything good if it came up to them and bitch slapped them several times. Because all they do is they shit on everything. And as you said, they just shit on stuff probably to make money. And maybe those people are coming back, not necessarily to see him shit on stuff, but just to see him get riled up.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I don't know. That's why it's become like you try to tell somebody like something's not good. Like I'll bitch about Picard season 2 because it wasn't good. You're like, oh, you just want to hate on everything. And people say that shit because there's whole fucking communities on the internet that just literally bitch about everything. And it's annoying as shit because then you can't like reasonably complain about something. Picard season 2 wasn't good.
Well,
I'm a hardcore Star Trek fan. It wasn't fucking good.
I'll be honest.
Discovery season 3 and 4 fucking suck.
Compared to every season of Next Generation, Picard isn't that great, honestly.
No, it's not. It's not.
not.
Well, I will say season 1 of Picard is better than season 1 of TNG because I'm sorry, season 1 of TNG.
You got a little slow. I'll give you that.
It was rough that first fucking season, which is why I mean that's why it's a whole thing in the Star Trek community where it's called Riker's beard. Because when Riker got a beard in season 2, the show got drastically better. So that's become a thing in the Star Trek community. Riker's beard. But anyway, but no, you're right. But Picard is not anywhere near as good as TNG or fucking Voyager or Deep Space Nine or any of those shows. Like it's just not.
That's another one actually. Now that people complain about, like the two two Star Trek series people shit on the most are Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Okay,
which I don't understand why they're great.
I don't understand why because Sisko the guy who played Sisko did a great job at being, that station commander. He did an excellent job, and honestly, I don't think there was a Deep Space Nine episode I disliked. I liked the whole series.
Yeah,
so
they're great shows.
It just gets me like, so you didn't like it. Okay, so did you watch anything else? Probably not.
No, it sucks. It sucks when, okay, if I say, here's what happens as a Star Trek fan. If I say, I don't like Discovery season 2 and 3, I think they suck. I think they're boring and they suck. I think Picard season 2 fucking sucks. It's boring and it fucking sucks. Then everybody on one side of this big fucking split, which by the way is all political, right? We're now splitting movies based on political ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody on one side, I say those things suck. Oh, you're just one of these fucking haters that just fucking thinks everything is woke and blah, 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 blah. But then if I say, well, I actually did like Discovery season 1 and 2, and I did like Picard season 1, then everybody on the other side is like, oh, you just fucking like all that woke shit. It's like, no, because it doesn't have to do anything to do with being woke. It's either good or it's bad. And it's not that woke shit doesn't piss me off. And when they interweave that shit into fucking stories unnecessarily, it doesn't fucking ruin stories, because it absolutely does. Right? But
yeah, well, and
Picard
I'm gonna
season
come out
one
and say this.
Picard season 1 wasn't woke. And there was nothing in there about that, right? Discovery season 1 and 2, right? They're not very Star Trek to me, but I do like the stories. I thought it was good sci-fi. Nothing really woke in there, unless you want to bitch about the main character as a chick. I guess you could say that's woke. I don't know, but then to bitch about that, you would have to have never watched Buffy or fucking Wonder Woman or fucking Terminator or Aliens, or think that somehow women being the lead character in anything is somehow new, and therefore it must automatically be woke, because it's fucking not. But whatever.
I mean, I have a different opinion on Discovery. I don't like Discovery really that much. I mean, I watched it. I won't argue with it that it had elements of a Star Trek series, but it just, to me, it didn't feel like Star Trek. And
no, it didn't feel like Star
it's not
Trek
because
at
of
all.
any of the woke elements. It's just the story didn't seem like a normal Star Trek story.
Like I said, I liked it because I thought it was good sci-fi. I did think season 2 was much better than season 1. Right. I think season 2 is arguably the only season that I could say was legitimately good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mostly because it had Spock and Pike in it. Which, by the way, and that's another thing. I'll sit there and I'll say, hey, if you don't like Discovery, if you don't like Picard, if you don't like all this other shit that's going on, right? Like, you should at least watch Strange New Worlds, where it's all about the Enterprise and Spock and Pike and shit. Yeah. I'll be like, because that feels like old school Star Trek. And they'll be like, oh, you just like that woke shit. It's like, no, it's not woke. Because there's now been this divide, right? And it's like trying to have a conversation about, you know, what's good and what's bad without fucking mixing in fucking political divides into shit. I can't just be like, well, I like this or I didn't like that, because you're going to piss somebody off. Because we've now hit this point where you either love everything that Star Wars and Star Trek does, or you hate everything Star Wars and Star Trek does. And anytime something new comes out, either you have to love it or you have to fucking hate it. When the truth is, some of it's good and some of it's bad.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's bad because of woke shit. Sometimes it's bad because it's just fucking bad.
Yeah. I'm going to borrow a G-Web saying here, but fuck that, dude. You can't tell me what I can like and what I can't like. I'm going to like something for this, and I'm going to like and dislike something for that. And if you don't like it, if you can't take it, then take the largest broom you can find and shove it up your ass.
It's just a weird time to fucking be a geek. Like, I think it's a great time to be a geek, because even though there's still a lot of shit I don't fucking like, right? There's so much geek shit on TV and at the movies. I could have never imagined this as a geek in the 80s and 90s, right? Like, we have more fucking sci-fi comic book content coming out on a daily fucking basis than I could have ever dreamed when I was a little geek in the 80s and 90s. So even if half of it sucks, I'm still personally, as a geek, getting a lot more than I ever did as a kid. So I'm actually really enjoying. And again, some of the stuff comes out, it sucks. Some of the stuff comes out, it's good. But there's now a divide, and it's based on politics, that's like, well, I can't say I like some parts of modern Star Trek or some parts of modern Star Wars. It's like, oh, you just like all that woke shit. Or if I say, but I didn't like this or that, it's like, oh, you're one of those fucking MAGA fucking motherfuckers who don't like anything. It's like, no, that's not the truth. Because again, I think it's all bullshit. You can't like all of that shit, and you can't hate all of that shit. And if anybody says they hate everything modern Star Wars or modern fucking Star Trek or whatever the fuck it is, like, then I automatically don't trust your opinion, because you're obviously not judging it accordingly. Because there's some good Star Trek and some good Star Wars out there. Well, you know, there's some shit too. No doubt about it.
Yeah, but you know, it's like I don't watch a lot of TV anymore because there's a lot of shit on. Okay, you know, I normally just binge watch a lot of stuff. You know, okay, but I was flipping the channels, you know, one night the other night, and I found out that there was an actual prequel to Supernatural, the Winchesters.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes, and it's like, well, I see what they're trying to do, but what happened to the budget?
Dude, I watched the first episode and was like, I'm not doing this to myself.
Yeah.
And I loved Supernatural.
I loved it too.
Loved Supernatural.
Like,
I watched the first episode of that. What's it called? The Winchesters or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, I'm not watching this shit. This is bad. This is real fucking bad.
I went through 3 episodes and I was like, I was hoping it would get better. And no, it got worse actually. So I was like, what did they do this? What are they doing? So
yeah, no. Look, there's good and bad and everything. But the fact of the matter is, we as geeks have more shit to look forward to now than we ever have before. Because it's finally become popular and part of, pop culture, comic books and sci-fi and all this shit. Whereas back in the 80s when I was a kid, man, like you didn't even want to talk about that you read comic books or that you watched Star Trek. You know what I'm saying? Like you like, no, I mean, honestly, unless you went to a fucking comic convention or a Star Trek convention, right? Like you didn't go to school and just talk about all that shit because you wanted to get laid.
We beat people up for saying things like that.
You wouldn't go around talking about Star Wars and Star Trek and comic books in front of girls, right? It wasn't cool to do that shit. Now you can because it's all fun and for the most part, everybody enjoys at least some aspect of that.
Well, it's
right?
It's basically seeped into the culture.
Yeah, exactly. Which it should have a long time ago because there's a lot of really great great stories to be told in comic books and sci-fi and all this shit. So I just don't get the people who bitch about everything. I heard people come out and be like, there's no more good Star Wars. Disney ruined Star Wars. I'm like, I'm sorry. Have you seen Mandalorian? Have you fucking seen Rogue One? Don't tell me there's no more good Star Wars.
It's just some of it. Some of it is
great.
Though some of it is hit or miss. Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock, like Han Solo,
or Bad Batch. You know what I mean? Yeah. But seriously, when you've got Mandalorian, when you've got Rogue One, when you've got when that 7th season of fucking Clone Wars came out, like you can't tell me that's bad Star Wars. If you do, you're fucking retarded.
No, it's true.
That was great fucking those 3 things are great Star Wars. Fucking Mandalorian is great.
I mean,
Rogue One is great. That last season of Clone Wars is fucking great.
Love it, hate it. I loved the Boba Fett series when they had him riding the Rancor. Come on, man. That was just cool.
I'm just saying, I don't trust people who just are like, I hate everything Star Wars now because it all sucks. I'm like, well, then I don't trust your opinion on anything.
Yeah.
Because there's some fucking great Star Wars. And same thing with Star Trek. Now, I will say modern Star Wars is better than modern Star Trek. By a lot, honestly. And that sucks to say because I think Star Trek has given me far more hours of enjoyment throughout my life than Star Wars ever has because there's just more of it.
Right.
But it's true. Like between stuff like The Mandalorian and Andor, fucking Andor was great. Mandalorian is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
I like the first season of Picard, but second season sucked. You know what I mean? So I'm getting better Star Wars now than I am Star Trek. And if people bitching about Marvel, I get it. Not everything Marvel is good, but goddamn.
Well,
have you seen the shit we're getting? Like, yeah, I get it. Okay, you don't like Miss Marvel. Yeah, I didn't like it either. Don't like She-Hulk. I didn't like it either. I get it.
I got to make a statement here about
fantastic.
Disney.
Fucking Endgame was fantastic. Fucking Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome. That last Spider-Man movie was one of the greatest movies I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah,
right.
It was good. It was good.
We're still getting awesome shit from Marvel. And even if it's not everything they put out, even if it's only half the shit they put out is worth the shit, that's still way more than we got back in the 80s and 90s and even into the 2000s.
Absolutely.
We weren't getting this level of shit back then.
Well, but here's the thing, with the whole woke culture woke bullshit trying to, seep into the culture, there's a lot of backlash with that. And some of that backlash was Disney was trying to adopt some of that shit. And then they got in trouble with Florida for that shit, and eventually it ate enough into their profits to where they had to fire the CEO and hire back Bob Iger to go and try and fix some of that bullshit.
Yeah, well, and even Bob Iger put out he didn't put out the statement, but
his office.
Well, actually, I guess he did. He did kind of put out because he was doing an interview with it wasn't Entertainment Weekly, but it was one of the big entertainment, like online fucking places, and they sat down and talked to him. And he straight up said, no, one of the things we're doing with Marvel specifically, he said this across Disney entirely, but he did then call out specifically Marvel. He's like, what's been going on with Marvel is we're doing too much. And we want to give fans the absolute best we can possibly give them. So we're going to reel it back in. Because we can't keep doing 5 shows every year and 4 movies every year and have all of them be great. And he's like, and I want them all to be great. So if that means we're only doing 2 movies a year and 1 or 2 shows
said the
on
same
Disney
thing
Plus,
about Star Wars too.
Yeah, and he said the same thing about Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's like, which, you know, hey, cool. And I don't fucking know much about Bob. I mean, I know a little bit about him just because I pay attention to fucking entertainment news and stuff like that, right? But I don't know him or his motives or agendas or any of that shit, right?
Right.
But, you know, he was the guy that was at the helm for a lot of really good shit that Disney did.
Yeah.
You know, helped them make a lot of really fucking good decisions. And then he left and Disney started making bad fucking decisions.
A lot of them.
And now he's back. And
Well,
I'm hoping they make good decisions again.
I think they had
I'm okay at getting only 2 movies and a couple of TV series for Marvel if all 4 of those things are awesome.
If they're good,
You know?
yeah. If they have a good storyline, they got to get good with the plot. They have good actors. They don't try and pander to one side or the other. They just tell us a fucking story. Then yeah,
I think they had a very unperfect storm in that they launched Disney Plus and it had a lot of back content, but it was then immediately competing with HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, who all had new original content. You then had the pandemic and they finished phase 3, the Infinity Saga. So then they were stuck in a rebuilding year and they couldn't send anything to theaters. They had to put it all on Disney Plus. It was just a really bad storm for them to be in. All kind of at once.
yeah. So,
Well, I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't trust anybody who loves everything that's coming out now, and I don't trust anybody who hates everything that comes out now, because the truth is in the middle somewhere. Truth is in the fucking middle. There's good shit and there's bad shit. And you should be able to like something if you fucking want, right? And it's just
Exactly.
it's fucking weird. It's fucking weird now.
oh, you got to get super chat.
What is this? Oh, let's see.
You
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
go
we
to
got super chat from Protagonist says, people bitching about bad Star Wars never lived through the Christmas special. Support the good writer director, and the others will fall by the wayside. Yes, the
Yeah,
Christmas
that's
special was
true.
fucking horrible. I didn't actually see it. I was too young to see the Christmas special when it first aired, but I saw it for the first time. I think I was probably about 10, and I don't remember how I got it. I guess somebody, I don't know, I think I found it or my mother found it or somebody. Anyway, it was at like a fucking thrift store or a Goodwill or something on VHS. So obviously somebody had recorded it.
A friend of mine had it on VHS too.
Yeah, and that was the first time I had seen it.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it as a kid. And I've dipped in and out of it a couple of times as an adult. You know what I mean? Like I've fucking try let me try to watch that fucking Boba Fett part again or some shit or whatever.
I watched it and I was like, wow, this is really
but I remember
really
even
bad.
as a kid, I was like, this is fucking horrible.
I
Like, I never wanted to fucking watch it. It's fucking horrible.
If anybody wants to subject themselves to that kind of torture, it's on YouTube. Just go look for it. It's there.
Mhm.
I've still never seen it.
Well, you're lucky.
There's no reason to. It's
There's no
horrible.
reason
Isn't it on Disney
Fucking
Plus
horrible.
now?
No, it's not.
I thought they said they were putting on Disney
it
Plus.
is without a doubt the worst thing Star Wars has ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying a lot.
I
No,
don't
it is
know.
the worst fucking thing
I don't know.
Star
besides
Wars has
Ewok
ever done.
movies.
No,
No.
I would rather watch the Ewok movies than that piece of shit.
Wow, that's a lot of torture.
I'd
right
rather
there.
watch Phantom Menace than watch that.
Oh,
That's
Episode
all.
9
Whoa.
is the worst thing. You know why?
whoa, Matt. Let's
I
let's
know.
not kill you.
I know.
I've never seen the Ewok movies either.
I loved those things as a kid.
I did too.
I remember going back at some point, probably in the 2000s, and watching them with like my 2 oldest back when they were like 5 and 7 years
Yeah,
old,
I
or
went
something
back
like
and watched
that.
them too.
And they liked them. And I remember watching them as an adult. You know, now I'm like fucking in my late 20s, and I was watching them like, these aren't that great, but I can understand why kids would like them.
Right.
They were good. They were good kids movies, you know.
Number
and that's what they were.
9
They were made for fucking kids.
is the worst Star Wars because it actually did cause me to get in a motor vehicle accident, and I will never forgive it.
Wait, which one?
Episode 9.
Episode 9.
When I told y'all about this, when I went to go see it opening weekend, 2 days before Christmas, I got in a wreck leaving the theater. So I finished watching episode 9, that 4 out of 10 movie, and then got in a car wreck.
Still better than the kids who went to Batman opening in Aurora.
Ooh, too soon.
I mean, you know, it was a lively experience.
Those that got out.
Not for some.
All right, we got super chat for Stephen Carroll. Says there's a video on YouTube of a guy dressed up as George Lucas going to Comic-Con and destroying every copy of the holiday special he can. That's great. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's great.
And that should happen because that's
should.
fucking horrible. That's the worst thing I've ever seen related to Star Wars.
Mm.
Have you ever seen the episode of South Park where George Lucas and I forget who the director was right now are like raping Star Wars characters and taking like little baby Yoda and raping him?
No, I don't watch the show, so.
Oh, dude, it's on point because like it's a metaphor, but like a disgusting one because it's South Park, so they're like raping things, you know, because that's what they do.
Yeah,
but yeah, for them going back and re-releasing the original 3 movies with like 5 minutes of added shit and some like upgraded stars and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And everything they've done since has been kind of like not lived up to the original, not been like Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? Not been Return of the Jedi.
The only good thing they've done in the last, when was Revenge of the Sith? I don't know. The only good thing that they've done movie-wise since then was Rogue One. Now, Mandalorian's great. I loved when they brought back the last season of Clone Wars. Rebels is great. I really liked Andor. Thought that was great. But movie-wise, the only good thing they've done in the last like 15 years or whatever long it's been is Rogue One. That's it.
Yeah.
The whole system of making these movies is broken though, because they're not trying to tell good stories. They're not trying to tell like another piece of a grander story. They're just like, what can we ka-ching on right the fuck now as much as possible on every turn, and like just put crap out because it doesn't really matter because these fucking idiots will just buy this slop, which so far we have, right? But eventually they're not going to have the audience because they've just been telling shit fucking stories for so long.
Well, they're going to do what they're doing right now, which has been very successful, which is just focus on TV shows. Because the TV shows,
fine, and if they turn it around, like great, like I'm happy to see it. But I'm saying like the ship's course has been sailing toward, you know, like the waters of shit for a while now.
Well, what happened is they thought they could come out and do movies about characters nobody knew, gave a fuck about, and just do their own thing and call it Star Wars and say, well, we'll throw some Jedi stuff in there and there'll be new stormtroopers and we'll do some space battles and everybody will fucking love it. And while I'll admit the first one wasn't bad, I mean, I do still like Force Awakens. It's not a bad movie, right? It's just a rehash of fucking New Hope, but it's not a bad movie. It was entertaining, right? Like that, they weren't trying to capture that magic of, you know, and even as much as I dislike the Phantom Menace for many fucking reasons, like at least it felt like fucking Star Wars.
It did.
You know what I mean? It felt like fucking Star Wars. The prequels felt like Star Wars. And that's why Mandalorian is great, because it fucking feels like Star Wars. It feels like that original Star Wars, right? Clone Wars, the show was great. Felt like Star Wars. Rebels felt like fucking Star Wars. Rogue One felt like fucking Star Wars, right? And that's what those movies were missing.
Not right. Because the prequels, all 3 of them, at least maybe this is just my experience, but all 3 of them, I was like, first one, I was disappointed. Second one, I was more disappointed. third one, I was like when fucking Darth Vader screams no, I almost walked out of the theater.
No, see, I liked them more as each episode went on with the prequels. I didn't like
Yeah,
Phantom.
you like
at all.
everything though, dude. Like, you know, it's
No,
like
I don't. I don't like fucking
the
Phantom
dog
Menace.
would be like this food. Like, yes, of course, it's food.
But that's just it. I don't like everything.
Name 5 things you don't like.
Give me a genre. I can be real fucking specific.
Okay, you could probably
Give me a group of movies.
but only because you watch everything.
Give me a specific franchise. I'll tell you what I don't fucking like.
Glock.
Glock? That's
We
the
know
thing,
which
though.
one you
I mean,
don't
I
like.
know. Look, I know it's funny and shit, but I really don't like everything. Like, you know, just because something's a thing, I don't like everything. Like people were sitting there talking. We were talking about this the other fucking day. This new show on Sci-Fi Channel, Arc. I tried to get through the first fucking episode. Got 20 minutes in, bored to shit. Ain't gonna watch it. Like, I do give everything a try, and there's a lot of shit that I love. I'm a huge fucking geek, but you know, I think the prequels aged very well, short of Phantom Menace. I think Attack of the Clones,
compared to what's been coming out, it's like
has
Jesus
aged very
Christ.
well.
Like anything they come out with that's better is better than that. Anything that they've ever done is better than, you know, like the last fucking 3 movies they came out with. I mean, as far as like mainline movies, I'm not talking about Rogue One, and I didn't really care for the Solo movie either. To be honest, I thought
It was
Solo
okay.
it wasn't good. It was not good. That's why they didn't make another one.
It was okay. It was.
If it was good, they would have made another one. If it was good, there'd be a series of those movies, but they didn't do another one because it was shit.
No, it wasn't.
It was like five
okay.
different. It was like a boardroom idea, like brainstorm meeting of things that we could do in a Solo movie. And hey, let's bring in this. And hey, let's do the origin of the and oh blah, you know. And then just everything came together, and it was just like a plate of spaghetti. That's a movie, and it was shit.
You are forgetting that we watched that movie together, right? And that you were like, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. It was okay. Like you literally said that after we watched it.
Yeah, and I haven't watched it since because it wasn't that good.
Because you were the one that's like, no, it's shit. I don't want to watch it. And then we got on and we all watched it together online.
Solo?
Like, okay,
I don't remember this. I think you're making this up.
No, this was back during COVID. You had never watched it, and we watched it online because you were bitching about it the whole time. And I was like, look, it's not a great movie, but it doesn't suck like fucking because at the time I think when we watched it, well, maybe episode 9 had come out. I don't remember if episode 9 had come out, but at least episode 8 had come out. I can't remember all the fucking dates of that shit. And you were like, I'm not going to watch it because it fucking sucks and everything fucking Star Wars sucks and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, you should at least watch Solo, see if you fucking like it. Because I was like, it's not horrible. Like, it's not a great movie at all. Like, it was one of those movies I was like, well, I watched it once. I may never watch it again. But, and you watched it and you were like, oh, okay, well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Well,
Anyway.
me sitting here now disagrees with me then, if that's true.
Okay.
And I don't believe
you haven't
I don't
watched it
believe
since
you.
then?
Because I don't remember this at all.
Well, you were high. That's probably why. But
Probably has something to do with it.
I remember all kinds of things. I was high a lot.
yeah. Well, anyway. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Look, we're doing a short one today, so only about an hour because I got home late, and we're not going to do this forever. So, and I got shit I got to do. So we're going to go ahead and now we get a fucking another super chat right here at the last minute.
Why are you dressed like a high school youth counselor?
I went to the fucking movie. Dude, I got home like less than 30 minutes before the chat started. I haven't changed yet. I'm still wearing my fucking movie clothes. So
You got to get dressed up.
I gotta I like getting dressed up when I'm going out in public and going out with my wife and going out for some entertaining like a fucking movie. Yeah.
Yeah, lights
I
are
don't
on
dress
the whole
like a
time.
fucking
People are
slob.
shoveling buckets of popcorn into their face. No one cares what you look like.
No, I do. I fucking give a shit.
Sorry,
I'll leave
more
the house.
today.
All right. Cal Republic says, read my last chat, please, sir. New Star Wars sucks, but not everything new Star Wars sucks. Also, the lamb burgers I made tonight were great. Okay, good. Where's your fucking chat? Oh, there it is. A big part of the new trilogy is shitting on all the old characters and undoing everything done up to that point. That and woke BS and ridiculous plot, no character development. I agree with all of that, except for the people that bitched about how Luke Skywalker acted in Episode 8.
Dude, I look at the new trilogy of movies like the cinematic version of Antifa ripping down statues. Like, oh, we can't have like this General Lee statue or whatever, or not even that inflammatory.
That's
Shit,
not Luke.
They even ripped down George Washington, didn't they? Or not George Washington, Lincoln. Yeah,
they tried to deface Lincoln, the Lincoln Memorial, when half the people that are trying to deface it are free because of him.
I disagree.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. I know it wasn't good. I didn't feel like they were trying to fucking again because really okay. So Han Solo was only in the first movie, and I don't feel like they did anything bad to Han Solo other than kill him, and that's because he wanted to be killed off. Like that was a thing that Harrison Ford fucking wanted, so they made it happen. And I don't think
they killed the wrong lead character, didn't they?
and I don't think that what they did to Luke was uncharacteristic of Luke. And we've had this conversation more times than I care to go into again, so we're not going to. But Luke acted exactly as you would expect him to fucking act. He was a fucking whiny bitch of a young guy. And when he got old and things didn't go his fucking way, he turned back into a curmudgeonly little bitch. It's exactly what I would have expected of Luke Skywalker if you're going by the original movies. So I didn't get why people were bitching. I wanted Luke to be this and that and blah, blah, all this shit. It's like, well, he wasn't that in the original trilogy.
He gave up.
Like, I mean, he wasn't even that great of a fucking Jedi. Let's be honest here. He would have been dead had his dad not saved him.
Well, okay. I'll agree with you on the fact that they dumped everything I built Luke Skywalker up to be post Return of Jedi due to the books. So I will condone to that. When you add everything that happened in the books, the level at which he continued to grow exponentially post Return of the Jedi, according to Legends now, that was not my Luke Skywalker.
No, that was not Legends Luke Skywalker at all. I agree with you there. And as a huge fan of Legends, had they been doing those movies, I'd be happy as fucking shit. But they didn't. They said none of those counted. None of those were it. We were strictly going off of the original trilogy, and all we know about Luke is he tried to start a Jedi Academy, and it fucking failed. And I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense for how Luke would have ended up. Because
my version of Luke Skywalker is the one from Mandalorian, who comes in and saves the day when everyone's fucking crouched in the room and the robots are coming and they can't stop them and they've got too much armor, and then fucking Luke just comes and fucks everybody's shit up.
That's your favorite Luke Skywalker?
That's what I pictured him as in the future.
I mean, I'm just saying, because that is Disney Luke Skywalker right there. You know.
Well, I'm saying though, okay, fine. But how is he
bitching about it?
I'm bitching about it because he's not like cool, powerful, awesome Luke in the future who does shit. He's like bitch ass, gave up, whiny ass, blue drinking milk, motherfucking disappearing, dying like fucking he's like somebody.
Yeah.
Without even being at the fight. He fights the fight without fighting. Like, that was so gay, dude. Yeah. That was 100% gay.
It was. Look, I'm not saying that it was a good portrayal of Luke Skywalker. It was just
You accurate. Just said that.
No, I said it was accurate.
Oh my God.
That's all I said.
Oh,
it's accurate. It is obviously not a good portrayal of Luke Skywalker because it portrays him in a poor light. But it is accurate if all you're taking into canon is the original movies.
Matt, we need to do a show where we compare
movies.
Legends
and
accurate. Current Disney canon.
It's certainly not a good portrayal of him. He's a fucking curmudgeonly old bitch. Yeah. Nobody's saying that it was good. Nobody's saying like, "Oh, that's great, Luke Skywalker right there." No, I'm just saying it was accurate.
Yeah, let's
follows from that logic. Like, oh, it was accurate, therefore it was good. Like, is that rifle good? I don't know. Is it accurate? Like, it's kind of like synonymous with one another.
Anybody who thinks accurate and good, anybody who thinks that I'm saying that Luke being a curmudgeonly little bitch means I liked that Luke is a fucking retard. A fucking retard. Of course I don't like that Luke.
I
That
feel like
Luke is
you're
a
acting
curmudgeonly old
curmudgeonly old
bitch.
shit.
You
Of
are
course,
saying
I don't like
you are
that
saying-
Luke, and I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's accurate if you're taking out everything in Legends, and the only thing we have to go off of is what we know in the original trilogy, and then the only thing we know of him at this point is he tried to start a Jedi Academy and completely fucking failed.
well, that
And
still
the
implies,
galaxy has gone to shit since then.
That still implies
Yes,
in
it's
30
accurate.
years.
That's
the
exactly
man
how you
had
would
no
expect
character arc.
Luke to be.
Let Jolly talk.
That implies that in 30 years, a man completely retrograded or had no character arc and didn't grow as a human in 30 years. I find that unreasonable.
No, he did have a character arc. He absolutely did. It was a downward spiral, but he absolutely had a character arc from the last time we saw him, where he had fucking been a part of destroying the fucking Death Star. That's a fucking character arc. You may not like it, but it's a fucking character arc.
He went from that to having his own academy and then failing and deciding to go and be a hermit like every other Jedi, hiding from Order 66.
Dude, he acted basically like Yoda, who was the guy who fucking trained him. How is that not accurate? How is that not likely?
I agree with, actually, I don't mind Luke going into hiding like Yoda. I just have a problem with like how they explained it.
Yeah, because he had really no reason to hide unless, you know, the first, they didn't even mention if the First Order was hunting.
Exactly. Like, yeah, Ben turned to the dark side and there was Snoke, but there was no reason for him to go into hiding.
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't try to start up the Jedi Order again.
Yoda and every other Jedi went into hiding because of Order 66. They would get off if they were out there.
Yeah, they were living to fight another day. The First Order wasn't a thing yet when that started.
I mean, Ken Jarrus, he changed his name. Stopped using his lightsaber.
Anyway, I'm not rehashing this conversation we've had for like 5 fucking years about how Luke's a bitch, because I've been very clear on this for a long time. Okay, if you're taking Legends out of the equation, Luke was not a powerful Jedi, and he was kind of a little bitch.
See, that's the thing, though. I read Legends. I read fucking
I did too.
Heir to the Empire, and Luke was definitely not a fucking bitch.
No, he wasn't. And
No, he
those
wasn't.
those stories of Luke are fucking awesome. And I wish that's the version of Luke we would have gotten, and they would have respected Legends canon. But they clearly came out and said, none of that shit from Legends matters. We're doing new stories. This is the story we're fucking telling.
Yeah.
And the question is it realistic at that point? Is it realistic that the Luke from the original trilogy, that all we know about him is he tried and failed to start a Jedi Academy, would become exactly like Yoda did? Yeah, that's completely realistic. That's completely to be expected.
Like that prerequisite of like,
While it's
he was a
realistic,
man, so
yes.
he had to fail when he tried to. He was groping children or something. Like that's what they want to fucking imply. Like he's some fucking piece of shit.
Yes, it's realistic, but it's unrealistic that he cut himself off from everything just because of it.
Yes, because Luke, he rose above his challenges. That's what he did in the original trilogy. He got his arm cut off. His best friend got frozen in carbonite.
And then Daddy
He's the
saved him.
chosen one. He's supposed to bring balance to the Force.
No, he chose
No.
not to fall
No, that
into
was
the dark
Anakin.
side.
That was Anakin.
Anakin was supposed to bring balance to the Force, and
Well,
he
he
eventually
did because
did.
he killed the Emperor and himself and everybody else and all the Jedi and everybody was dead, and he left Luke, and that was balance to the Force.
Yes.
And then,
Well,
and then
actually,
again,
technically not, because that's 1-0. That still isn't balanced.
Well,
I mean,
no.
No, we
bad
can't go
Jedi
much
too.
lower. So
Mara Jade, come on, there's other ones.
yeah, but again, you're looking at Legends, which don't exist. You have to look at the
They
story.
should've- That's
from the point
okay.
of view.
I guess if you come down to it, that's my complaint.
And
They
that's my
should've
complaint
used,
too.
like-
I agree with you.
They
I
should have
agree with you.
used. They should have gone on with like the most popular of the literature that had already been out there, that had already been established, that people already read and liked because they were good stories.
And you know which trilogy that was. You know which one
Zahn.
that was.
They should have
should
fucking
have
done a
done-
Zahn trilogy of movies. I agree.
They should have done a Thrawn
fucking
trilogy.
percent.
They should have done that.
I agree 100%.
Thrawn was so Thrawn is so popular in the Star Wars amongst the Star Wars fans that Disney had to go back and rip him out of Legends and put him into Disney's Star Wars because people liked that character so much.
Yeah. And I agree. Legends should not have been wiped out. At the most they should have done is say,
Maybe
well,
they
okay,
should
we're
have
not going to
pruned
do
it a
that
little.
exactly, but we're going to take those stories and we're going to modify them to be movies, but we're going to stick with that overall general, plot line of how these characters develop. That's what they should have fucking done. And they didn't. And it was fucking stupid. It was fucking stupid because they had 20 years worth of excellent fucking stories to pull from. And they didn't do that. They decided to make up their own shit, and it wasn't good. They completely fucked up.
Yeah.
Preach on, brother Matt.
But
I'm
as I
here
said,
hoping-
that we need to do a chat one of these days where we talk about Legends and current Disney canon.
We should not bring up current Disney canon. We should just talk about Legends and how awesome it is.
Maybe
I'm
we
over-
We
should.
should do.
I would be
5
up for
minute.
that.
Here's my suggestion. Everyone has a 5-minute timer to give their best pitch to Disney for the trilogy that should have been. So you have a 5-minute timer to explain what you thought, give the start, beginning, and end of what it should have been. I think that would be kind of
Like we just bought Lucasfilm. What's the first thing we're doing?
no, well, yeah, I
Or
guess.
go for right
Yeah.
What would you have done with 7, 8, and 9?
Luke wakes up
trilogy.
from a dream that was the fucking failed last 3 movies and does fucking Heir to the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here hoping. I've been reading the Thrawn novels, which are prequels.
Oh yeah. Yeah. those are good.
I'm really hoping we go back to
Thrawn.
that galaxy when we go for it in Ahsoka. I would be so hyped.
Well,
At this point, I don't even give a shit about Star Wars movies anymore, to be honest with you,
the
because
series are much better.
the series are much better
Mm-hmm.
and highly entertaining. And you're getting 6 to 8 hours worth of story per season, sometimes more. If you look at Andor was, more than that. So, and they're great and I love them. I don't like fucking Bad Batch because that show's made for fucking kids, so I don't give a fuck about it. But
Right.
I at this point I don't even give a shit about if they make another fucking Star Wars movie. I don't care. Keep giving me more Mandalorian and bring back Ahsoka and all these other things they're planning on doing that have either been good or look like they're going to be good. Do another season of fucking Andor because that was great.
Remember,
Just do that.
this Ahsoka series is supposed to tie into the whole Rebels, where she
Yeah.
and Sabine Wren are looking for Thrawn because if you find Thrawn, you find Ezra Bridger.
Yep.
I do get kind of tired of the episodic nature of TV shows where they're working towards a goal, but you got to do this. A movie would almost in some cases be better, and I'm not saying in every case, and I'm not saying fuck all the TV shows, but sometimes
Oh yeah.
the way that they have to do the TV show ruins the idea of what it was.
Like with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan would have made a better movie.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan would have been a much better movie because there was a lot of shit that was just unnecessary in those 6 episodes.
Exactly.
There's just a lot of unnecessary shit that didn't add to the story, didn't do anything beneficial, but you could have cut it down to a 2.5 hour movie and it would have been fucking great.
I'm still upset that they raped Willow.
I didn't hate Willow as much as you did. I didn't hate it. It wasn't great,
No.
but stupid fun fantasy shit.
Bro, they raped him.
Literally.
Did they do it over hot coals or?
Not literally, and no, but they might as well have. I mean, it would have been, might have made more sense at a point.
Might have been more entertaining.
No.
Who did we massacre here? I walked away for a second.
Willow.
All right. Going back to what I was saying earlier, we're done. We're done, guys.
No, we're not. We're still here.
Stick a fork in
No,
her.
we're done. Show's over. Show's
Bye,
over,
everyone.
people. We'll see you guys next
Wait,
week. We'll
did
talk
we
about
talk
more
about
geek
the-
shit next week. I'll
Did we
be
talk about the Flash
doing it
trailer?
at the normal time next week instead of an hour later. So, deal with that. But we'll do this again next week. But of course, on NEA, we'll be here on Monday. So, but that's it. We're done with the
You'll
geek
be
chat.
the youth pastor here, so You dress for it.
Just a regular button-up shirt, dude. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Youth pass. It's not like I've got my fucking collar up here with a fucking, you know, what do they call
up
it?
there? You look like a cholo.
What do they call the thing? Oh, they just call it a collar, don't they?
Yeah.
The fucking thing that the pastors put on their fucking
pastor
neck.
collar there. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I should get one of those. I am an ordained minister.
You're an
I'm
ordained
an ordained minister. I could absolutely have one of those.
I don't think that applies the same, but okay.
No, it absolutely does. I looked it up. Trust me, it fucking does. So,
yeah.
Anyway. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you later. Have fun. Enjoy your weekend, all that good shit. And, yeah, we're out of here. So, later.